G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And a few months ago I compared two cars that I think are absolutely perfect first cars for young people who have maybe been working for a year or so. The Honda Integra Type S, the proper New Zealand new one with 6-speed manual and the K20Z1, and the Toyota GT86. Both of those cars can be had reasonably readily for sort of $13,000 to $15,000. Not half bad for what you get. However, if you are really on a budget and have maybe only $5,000 or $6,000 to spend, well then these are definitely worth considering. The JDM domestic market Honda Integra Type S with the less powerful 2-litre engine, or the Honda Accord Euro. And so today we're going to find out which car is better as a first car, the Honda Accord or the Honda Integra. First, let's compare the engines that came in these two cars. If you're on a budget and you're looking at the Honda Integra, you're pretty much only going to have one engine option available, the K20A3 found in the base Integra or the Japanese domestic market Type S. It's got 118 kilowatt or 160 horsepower and 193 newton meters of torque. You could have it paired up with a 5-speed manual like what my car has, or a 5-speed automatic with a Tiptronic mode. The Accords, on the other hand, had two different engine options available in the relatively affordable examples. You can have this base K20A6, which in theory is basically exactly the same engine as what's found in the Integra, although for some reason, even though this one in theory has the better aluminium manifold versus the plastic manifold on the Integra, it actually makes less power. It's only got 114 kilowatt, far less than this, and 191 newton meters. But otherwise, for all intents and purposes, the base 2-litre Accord engine and the base 2-litre Integra engine are basically exactly the same. But of course, most people tend to buy their Honda Accord with the K24A3. That has 140 kilowatt or 191 horsepower and 223 newton meters, significantly more than both of these engines. And as I discovered when I had mine, they have a lot more modification potential. If you do headers, a tune, and an intake, you should reasonably expect to be making around 150 kilowatt to the wheels, which is probably around 170 at the crank. So for that reason, I would say that the Accord has the better engine options available. The Accord also has a better interior. It may not be quite as cool looking as the Integra. I love the way the climate control is across the top of the dash. That's a very unique design. I don't know of any other cars that have it right up the top there. The Integra probably also has cooler looking gauges, even though they're not backlit like the Accord's one with the white background to them. They just look like a true sports car gauge cluster, whereas the Accord's gauges look pretty normal. But in every other regard, the Accord is significantly better equipped. You can get these Accords with leather interior, electric seats, cruise control, multifunction steering wheel here, so you can change the radio station and the song that's playing from the steering wheel. They have dual zone climate control rather than just single zone in the Integra. You can get them with keyless entry, auto lights and wipers. Of course, when new, this car had navigation, and you can get them with a 6-speed manual rather than just a 5-speed over there. The Integra's back seats are actually surprisingly usable. I can sit behind myself back there if I need to, but the Accord's back seats are just way bigger and more comfortable. Same with these seats here in the front. The Integra seats hold you in perhaps a little bit better, but because these Accords have this nice grippy fabric, even though they're not terribly aggressively bolstered, when I had my Accord on track, I had no issues getting around corners. So the Accord has the same 2-litre engine but a better K24 available in these cheaper examples. It's got a not quite as cool looking, but definitely more comfortable, more spacious, and far better equipped interior than the Integra. I personally think the Integra is a cooler looking car, although a tastefully modified Accord Euro is also not a bad looking machine either. But now it's time to find out which one drives better. Driving the Honda Accord Euro with the base K20A6 engine. I think this is the first base Accord Euro that I've driven. And I have to say, certainly compared with the Euro R and the K24 ones, which make, 200, 210 or even 220 horsepower, this with 155. It's not terribly fast, but winds right out to 7,000 RPM. And I gotta say, one of the brilliant things about these K-Series Hondas is that honestly, they have really great automatic gearboxes. The ratios are a bit long, but what I love about them is just how direct they are. As soon as you flick the Tiptronic down here, it just changes up immediately. Bang, straight into the next gear. And amazingly, you can rev match downshifts in this thing completely smoothly. It's actually amazing. You can kind of drive it like a manual in a way. The other significant advantage is just the comfort. This Accord is noticeably quieter than the Integra. I drove the Integra up to Palmy today from Wellington. It's fine, but it's pretty crashy over bumps. It's very loud, a lot of road noise, a lot of rain noise hitting the windscreen and stuff. It's just a lightweight, not particularly well insulated car, whereas the Accord, so comfortable over all these bumps. The engine, you can almost hardly hear it because it's so quiet. So as a result, I did 27,000 kilometers in my Accord, never once complained about the comfort. The seats are great, the ride quality is great. It's just a very usable car. But there are a number of areas where the Integra is definitely better. So let's jump into the Integra and see how that compares in more detail. Driving the Integra Type S, and when you get behind the wheel of this car, you notice three things immediately. First of all, it is much lighter, which does wonders for the performance. That's why the Accord normally comes with the K24, because it needs more power to make up for the extra weight. This doesn't. 160 horsepower, it's basically a Civic engine. This thing is actually quite a quick car. The second thing is the steering. Honda knows how to make brilliant hydraulic steering, and this is unfortunately a problem that plagues the Japanese import Accords because they all come with EPS. This is hydraulic power steering, and fortunately the New Zealand new Accord Euros are also HPS, and so as a result the steering feedback in these cars is a lot better. And the final thing is the gearbox. Honda knows how to make a brilliant manual transmission. It might only be a 5-speed, which is getting a bit out of date by 2005, and the Accord does come with a 6-speed, which is definitely nice, but nonetheless the feedback, the ratios are absolutely perfect. Look at that, you can use second, third, even a bit of fourth down a road like this without going too outrageously quickly. The Integra is the perfect middle ground between a Type R and a Honda Accord. Or is it? Once again, we come back to the old Kiwi car life adage. If you are young and looking for your first car, you really cannot beat the Honda Accord. But you have to get one of these, a Japanese import Type S or a New Zealand new Accord Euro S. Why? Well, because it has the sporty styling of the Integra, the sporty interior of the Integra with the features of the Honda Accord. But importantly, it is powered by the K24. Revs to 7,300 RPM with 200 horsepower under your right foot. A little bit heavier, a little bit softer than the Integra, and because this is a Japanese import again, it has the electric power steering, but the gearbox, fantastic automatic transmission. Ratios are a bit longer than I'd like, but it shifts really snappily. You can rev match it yourself, even right down into first gear at 50 k's an hour. Look at that, perfectly smooth rev match into first. Bang, up into second. It's so snappy to go through the gears. And with double wishbone suspension in the front, multi-link in the back, the ride quality is exceptional, but it still handles well. It still feels like a sports sedan. You will really struggle, short of taking a gamble on something European, to find something that goes as well as this, with the modification potential that this has, with a pretty solid automatic transmission and an even better manual. These are just absolutely fantastic cars. And so, to conclude, Accord versus Integra. The Integra is great. The Accord 2 litre is average, but this Type S, it's just a masterpiece. Turn it in, clip that apex, down into first gear, rev match perfectly, right out to 7,300. Oh yeah, what a car, what a beast. Oh yeah, and with that, I will look forward to seeing you again next time.